All right, I think we are ready to go. So let's start with reading the condition exercise. So we have seen these slides. We'll just quickly go through what it is. And we have seen a subtle body and physical body, causal body, and subtle bodies. We have understood this. So let's start with, we'll come back to this later. Okay. Now, what you do is, I hope you have your diaries and pens ready. Let's do this exercise of reading our own condition at this point of time. Okay, very softly close your eyes and feel that you are connected to the Divine Master. And you can start with your toes. As you are coming up and observing, scanning your body, you can relax them at the same time you are reading them. Okay, you start with the toes. Feel your toes, wriggle your toes. How do you feel your toes? Do you feel all the toes on your feet? Relax them. Now feel the energy moving up from Earth, Mother Earth, and relaxing your feet. It's rising up. As it is rising up, feel that energy's flow. You can think it is flowing, see it, feel it. It's all the same. The energy has come up to the ankles, relaxing your feet. Are your feet more relaxed now than before? Notice the condition of your legs. Are they comfortable? Feel the energy moving up through your legs, all the way to the knees. See if there is any tension in your thighs. Is your left thigh more tense than the right thigh? Feel the energy move up through the thighs, hips, up to the lower back. Your entire lower portion of the body is now relaxed. If you need more relaxation, you can spend additional time. Breathe normally during this exercise. Now the energy is moving up through your stomach, lower back, and you feel relaxation. Now the energy is moving up through the front, through the chest, through the back, to the shoulders. And the energy is now moving down through your arms, elbows, hands, wrists, fingertips. Now the energy is moving up to the back of the neck and the front of the neck, relaxing the neck muscles. Now the energy is moving up through your lower jaw, upper jaw, mouth, nose, ears, eyes. Your mental screen is totally relaxed now. Whatever is in front of your eyes, the impression on the eyes are totally relaxed. They are just evaporated. Now feel the energy move up to the back of the head, forehead, and to the top of the head. Scan your body from the top of the head to the tips of the fingers and toes. This entire exercise, we should be able to do it in 3 to 5 breaths. Long, deep, relaxing breaths. You take a deep breath and you relax on out breath. Okay, now open your diaries and answer these questions. How do you feel before you started the relaxation and after the relaxation? And during the relaxation, what happened? Just a small entry. You can say, I felt before it was heavier. During the relaxation, I felt some energy washing up that particular part, and now I feel light. So for all this, you can say heavy, energy, and lighter, something like that. Did you feel light, heavy, calm? How do you feel now? Nervous, peaceful? Before the relaxation began, were you distressed or were you already centered? How is the mind? Is it alert or distracted? Do you feel a sense of happiness, or are you feeling sadness because of other circumstances? How are you feeling emotionally? Where do you feel these particular sensations? You can just, while writing, you can focus on one of these quadrants and see if the feelings belong to which particular quadrant. If I'm feeling emotional, where am I feeling emotional? Where is its natural feeling that it is gravitating to? Then you will know which quadrant is affected. You just have to follow that thought or that emotion, and it will take you to its center. So how are you feeling after the relaxation? You note it down. And then what kind of emotions did you feel or are you feeling right now? Are you feeling centered in yourself? Are you feeling emotions because of someone else? Do you find any particular sentiments like compassion, love, or you are remembering fond olden days, some nostalgic thoughts, or you have deep restlessness to achieve the goal, whatever it is, there are seeds of it which we may be able to recognize. So how are your thoughts? Are they related to one another? That means a sequence of thoughts. Oh, I have to cook, I have to, you know, do the dishes, I have to cook, I have to do this, and that movie is good. Now that movie and the cooking are not in sync. So these are thoughts that are not together. So these thoughts are not related, as an example. So see the broken thoughts, and everything is, you can say, a currency. Okay, thoughts are our currency. If we build those thoughts one after the other and make a continuous chain of one thought and keep it steady, that is what meditation is. If we are having these distracted thoughts, that means our meditation for that moment has broken. So this is how it is helpful. And then you can see what is the distance between thought to thought, in the sense, are there a swarm of thoughts, or there is one thought here and then there is nothing, and then you hit another thought after a while, which means during those gap between those two thoughts, we are actually meditating. So as we keep practicing, this particular gap continuously increases. So are these thoughts intense? Are they repeating themselves? Are they pointing out to some obsessions, some desires, passions? And again, if you see the questions that I'm asking, these are very much related to the consciousness dump exercise that we did. This is what consciousness dump is. Whatever is running, you just note it down. Are these thoughts related to yourself? Oh, I have to take care of this, I have to take care of my body, I have to do exercise, I have to stay in good condition with good spirits? Or are you thinking, I have to arrange certain things for my family, my son goes to school, I have to make sure that these things are available to him? Whether the thoughts are of that kind. It doesn't have to be just immediate family members, it can be related to extended family. So just see what your thoughts are. Are these thoughts focused on the past, present, or future? So for those of you who joined late, it is okay, just keep observing your thoughts while I'm asking these questions, and keep answering in your diary. You can just say simply yes or no. Are you distressed? You can say no. But again, these are just generic questions I'm asking, and there is no specific way in which these questions are framed. Or you could actually start with saying that, okay, am I absolutely happy at this moment? Yes, no. If I'm not happy, then you go into the second quadrant and say, am I affected? Is my peace of mind affected because of my unhappiness? And then you say yes. So what is it that is causing that effect? Then automatically you go to third quadrant and you see that it is related to fire, your pranamaya kosha, which is your energy. And you say, I feel depleted, I have no energy to deal with any of these issues right now, whatever it is, you can frame your own set of questions and you keep asking yourself these questions at the end of every meditation. It is important, and it is telling you a story about yourself, how to, and it is telling you where your energy is leaking, what are the things that you need to address. Or if you take your body as a house, and if there is absolute cleanliness and you kept it spick and span, then there is nothing. It's all beautiful, very good condition, nice air, light and air circulation and everything. But for example, you didn't attend to your basement for some time, and you or a storeroom locker or whatever, and there is a dead rat. What happens then? As soon as you open the door, that stench fills your house, and it takes a long time to clear it off. Similarly, the conditions, the thoughts, our obsessions that we hide from ourselves, they create a lot of problem for us as our mind becomes sharper and more powerful as we progress from each one of these quadrants and go into higher regions. That's why we say, heart region is a training ground. We have to be really masters of heart region. Forget about the mind region and central region and everything. If we just master heart region, then miracles will happen in our lives. So again, you can relate those questions back to these quadrants, and even with your eyes open, you're able to see your condition. And that's why these senses are very important. Like they see what they are supposed to see, and what they see, what we hear, and what we understand, they all should be in sync. So then after you go through the mind, so you went through the body, you went through the mind, and then you come to the soul, heart. Do you feel the qualities? Do you feel a lightness in your body that you haven't experienced before? Do you feel joy? Happiness we may feel, but joy is something extraordinary. Do you feel wonder? Do you feel happy without reason? Do you feel peaceful and total contentment? So when we remove the qualities, the opposite qualities, for example, when we overcome our greed and our desire, contentment is the nature of soul. The body doesn't have any need or desire, and the soul doesn't have any need or desire, but their conditions can be felt. And where your mind and your subtle bodies, mind, intellect, consciousness, and ego, where these four are attached to what they are attached to will tell you the condition. Okay, if you read Truth Eternal chapter 3, Daji is reading that particular chapter every Sunday now. It's called Spirituality. In that, the first page of the chapter starts with Sattva, Rajas, and Tamagunas. And when there are some questions that we received that people said, oh, we are unable to read our condition, and how do we read our condition? So in order to simplify that, we are doing this exercise. Okay, do you understand the need of the body? Do you feel hungry? Are you able to feed the body on time? Do you feel thirsty? You are able to drink water. You have to go to the washroom. Are you able to attend to it immediately? So these are the needs of the body that need to be met. Are you meeting those needs? If you are, then you know how to handle your body. But if I am continuously housed in my, that is, my consciousness is constantly with my body, it can only read the condition of my body. So if I have to read how I feel in my mind, now the consciousness has to shift and it has to observe what is happening in the mind. So that observer effect, consciousness is from the soul till the body. So you withdraw your attention from your body, the consciousness, and place it at the mind level. So now the consciousness is associated with the mind, and you are able to now see what is happening in the mind. And once you do this exercise, and then you take it to further and read, like at the intellectual level or knowledge level, and you see where it is. So it is associating our consciousness with each one of these points or koshas, whatever you may want to call it. And if any of these things are not sound resonating with you, again, we have done these exercises a lot, and we have covered koshas, we have covered each one of these points, journey through the points, and everything already. And the videos and the presentations are already available. Please go through them and always relate them back to your own condition and say, okay, am I able to do this, or am I not able to do this? Okay. And so we, after completing the reading the condition of our thing, then we come to reading our position. This reading the position is also very important. It shows where our consciousness rests at any given moment of time. That means, this is like, for example, you live in a house, and let us say there are 3 or 4 bedrooms in your house. So which room you are living in will give you the facilities of that room or whatever that is available in that room. So for example, in kitchen, you will find food. In library, you will find books. So sometimes you may take a book to the kitchen, sometimes you bring food to the library, it doesn't matter. But the main thing that is available to you there is that particular quality or whatever you assigned to that room and called it. Similarly, when I say point 1 area or quadrant 1, there we have associated that particular point due to the nature of the point as contentment and desire. Desires arise there, and contentment, the roots of contentment, the seeds of contentment also are at point 1. So when I rest my mind at point 1, how my mind is resting there? Is it comfortable? Like you have this feeling of home. Another example is, let us say you go on a vacation for 10 days, 15 days. And after some time, what happens is you feel restless to go back home. However beautiful the place is, even if you are in Kanha, for example. I'm not talking about people who are residing in Kanha, but people who visit Kanha occasionally, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever time. And after some time, even that beautiful heaven-like atmosphere, it doesn't appeal to you anymore. You want to go back home. So if you can understand that particular feeling, that going back home feeling, then you can immediately, easily know which point you are at. So all you have to do is bring your consciousness to this area, point 1 area, or you can just connect to your heart and say, take me to point 1. You can do this exercise and stay there. The other way to do it is, think your heart is all empty and request your heart to load the condition of point 1 into the heart. Allow the heart to be filled with that condition. Now you observe your mind. You observe your heart. Can you stay here for how long can you stay here? So depending on the duration, you know how comfortable you are with point one. If you have any disturbing thoughts, then you note it down. Now, think your heart is empty and request the heart to load the condition of point two, or fill your heart with the condition at point two. How comfortable was that? Note it down. And then you fill your heart again, empty your heart. Now fill your heart with the condition of point three. A prayerful request will always do it. Now do the same thing with point four. Empty the heart, fill the heart with condition of point four. Then the ease with which you are able to fill the heart, empty the heart, and fill up with the condition of the next point and next point and next point will tell you how much you are exposed to the consciousness of that particular point. It may indicate that you have journeyed those points, but whether you made it your home or not, you can only do it through verification by meditating on that point multiple times. All right. So, and as you are doing this exercise, at some point of time you feel heaviness, and then you are unable to proceed further. That means your consciousness has been mastered or exposed to the elements up to that particular level. So if I am unable to fill the point four condition into my heart naturally, it means I am not yet known. I'm yet to know what it feels at point four. This is how you come to a understanding about where your position is. And if you want any of these positions and conditions, you can pray to master, and you can he can give you the condition, and for the position we have to work hard, because what is given to us is what Daji calls it as aksi condition, in the sense it is given as a reflection. Like if I there is a story of Lord Rama. When he was a child, he wanted the moon, and he refused to eat until he was given the moon. So Dasharatha, what he did, he brought a mirror and showed Rama the reflection of the mirror in the, so he showed the reflection of the moon in the mirror. And Rama was happy because he could he could touch the moon, at least in reflection. Similarly, these conditions that Master gives, they're real, but for that moment, it was given to us so that our soul recognizes what that particular condition is, it remembers it, and it urges our subtle bodies to line up, to coordinate, and to bring that consciousness to that level so that it becomes our permanent home. That's how we gain positions. That's how we gain spiritual progress. Spiritual progress is all about our hard work. Okay. Now we go further. We looked at AEIOU. And again, this is about a condition. And this condition, if we are unable to read it, it means our consciousness is not at the same level as the condition that it exists at. So if my consciousness is resting on the body, I cannot read the condition of my soul. I can feel what is happening outside, but I cannot feel what is happening inside. So I need to release my consciousness from the body. And if you say, how do I release the consciousness from my body? Again, deep meditation. You have to meditate again and again and see where you are going and where you are coming back from. Almost all of us have experienced this, that in some meditations, we are just gone. And we are so absorbed, we are so lost. And we don't even know where we went. But if we know that we have gone somewhere, that means for that moment, we forgot our body. So that is the kind of state, forgetfulness of the body should be learned. So when I'm thinking, I'm all thought. When I'm meditating, I'm all about heart. And when I open my eyes, my presence should spread from my heart, mind, and body, all present at one place, not wavering here and there, no disconnected thoughts, complete presence. So that's what reading the condition helps us do. So then after doing this enhancement, after acquiring the condition, you can acquire condition only through meditation or prayer. Okay. So essentially, consciousness, you need to have a good grip on where you can rest your consciousness. It's almost like you can say, it's like an object. Consciousness should be a plaything for us. We take consciousness, put it on the body, we know about the body. We put it on the mind, we should know about the mind. We put it on the heart, we should know what is in the heart. Because consciousness spans across entire spectrum from the level of the soul to the body. Because consciousness rests on the soul. So reading the condition is actually knowing where your consciousness is at a given point of time. And there is nothing esoteric about this particular subject. And if I want to know condition of others, that can happen only when I forget myself. That means, Master has given a talk some time ago. He speaks about mirror neurons. And he says the skin is there to protect us. Without this skin, all the sensations from outside world will enter into us because our pranic body is exposed, our pranamaya kosha. But if I have to read the condition. I should allow my pranamaya kosha or the energy sheath, my energy, my subtle body to touch the other person's subtle body. If the person holds a barrier, if for example, someone wants to read my condition and I refuse to be read, I close myself. And then what reading will we get? Intuitively, when we are going through certain, when we are talking to people, when we identify certain people and as we are shaking hands with people or saying hello to them, you can see some people are very open and some people are closed. And how many ever times you meet certain people, they don't open because they are closed. They have closed their hearts, they have closed their things, so we cannot read. And that also is a reading that tells us that they're closed. So the first step is to release our consciousness and allow it to be playful or buoyant. It should be able to move freely across. And if we are able to achieve that, why about this world? We can read conditions of anyone, anywhere. But it requires us to first master ourselves, our own thoughts. Like, for example, there is a case where a person started communicating to some saint. And he thought he was communicating to Saint Tulsidas. And he was taking notes and he was happy, enjoying it and all. After some time, that Tulsidas, the person started saying certain things to him. And so he had a quarrel with Tulsidas, whom he thought to be Tulsidas. And from that time, the mind stopped, his mind, he went crazy kind of. It took Babuji Maharaj 2 years to rectify that particular mind. Because without us knowing what our condition is, what our thoughts are, we can never tell whether it is the play of our intelligent mind, which actually says, someone says, I want to read the condition of people, or I want to communicate with souls from other worlds. The mind may start playing the tricks to satisfy that person. So we should be able to know our own condition, thoughts. We should have an inventory, complete inventory of ourselves, so that if something comes or something goes, we know. That's what sensitivity is and alertness is. So this condition again is about consciousness. And then Daji says this condition must keep changing. Every day we must have a new condition. If we have the same condition as yesterday, at least there should be a refinement in it. It should be more lighter, it should be more expanding, it should have a quality of more lightness in it, expansion in it, or some other refinement. Otherwise, we are stuck there. And when we notice that we are stuck, typically, I know, like in my personal case, if a song gets stuck in my head, I know that my condition has come to a stagnation. So I know that at that time I need to take a sitting. And this I discovered as part of, doing this reading the condition exercise and keeping an inventory of myself. So it develops a 360-degree view of ourselves totally for ourselves. Very helpful. Similarly, you probably know, like, what is it that tells you, like, that you need a sitting or you need to go for a meditation. So there are needs of the soul, there are needs of the mind, and there are needs of the body. The needs of the body, when you are hungry, you remember food. That's one of the examples that Master used to give for constant remembrance. The difference between thinking and remembering. Like, I'm thinking of Master now, but how do I know when I remember him? Like the way the stomach remembers food when it is hungry. Similarly, the heart remembers the master. That is true remembrance. And what we want to do is we want to make it a live condition that we never forget. And that's why Babuji Maharaj says meditation is mother of constant remembrance. That is, when we meditate regularly, it should lead us to constant remembrance. And after constant remembrance, natural stage is love. Because he says, when we love someone, we always remember them. Because we are all the time hungry for their presence, their company. That is a sign of love. So if that person is far away, then there is a lot of poetry. People send letters through clouds, and they see the clouds going towards certain direction and say, oh, you must be going to meet my beloved, please carry my message that I love him, or whatever. There is a big poetry on that subject. All these are conditions. It graduates to love. And when love transcends its level, for the Lord particularly, that's what Daji is talking about these days, bhakti. And we cannot go to that bhakti without this remembrance and love. So all this, the conditions and everything, they're all related. We'll keep moving. So we should have openness, and we should practice with enthusiasm, and we should have a newer condition every time. And then once you get the newer condition, you will apply AEIOU again. So open and AEIOU, these are the two acronyms we probably have to master to arrive at the dose of devotion. And devotion carries us further. And if you see our Sister Uma's classes on mind region, from 9th point onwards till 12th point, or from 9th circle onwards till the 16th circle, it is all about Bhakta and the Lord, the devotee and the Lord, the interplay between Bhakti and being. So when we do these exercises, we'll have the taste of those conditions. And those conditions will inspire us. They will actually help us move forward. And at any point of time, we cannot rush, because the ultimate goal that we are set out for ourselves is what? Oh, Master, thou art the real goal of human life. That's what we say. We'll come to it, the goal setting, in a moment. But so whatever has been covered so far, that is all part of your diary writing. We should be so meticulous in recording all our thoughts, feelings, challenges. So now let us see what we write in our diary and how we have to capture that. What does the diary writing do? So the first step to diary writing is, yes, we just meditated and we have absorbed the condition. We did the AEIOU, and the condition is throbbing in our heart. It is pulsating in our heart, in every pore of our being. And then we reluctantly open our eyes, because we have to get back to the world. We have day-to-day chores. We are family people. So we open our eyes only. Our condition still remains the same. Till that time, don't even open the eyes unless the condition is stabilized. Some people, as soon as we say that's all, they open their eyes. Probably it works for them. But to hold the condition, after every hour of meditation, you take just take 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes to let that condition settle. And then open your eyes, write down your diary, and then close eyes for 5 more minutes and enliven the condition and bring it out with you. And go into the day with that condition, as if you have put some money in your pocket. for the day's expenses. So that's how you have to treat the condition as very precious, given to you for the day's getting through the day. Now, how to write the diary? You just relax and you listen deeply to your heart. Let the heart speak to you. And slow down your entire mental process. Don't have to rush word after word after word. And if the words are not flowing, pause. Allow the mind to be free. Let the mind go around the heart, whatever it may want to do. And keep seeing, listening, and try to make it as engaging as possible with all the five senses. Now, you write it down. So you went inward, then you come outward. You start writing the entries. You say, I sat down for meditation, and at first I was restless. And then you write the condition of what happened during the meditation. And you can be very brief, 10 words per a sentence, and maybe about 6 sentences for a paragraph. You don't have to be very elaborate also. But if you capture with all the five senses, I heard this, I felt heat like this, or I felt cold, or I felt, overwhelmed, I felt breathless. These are all conditions that happen during, and then you can analyze why this happened, why that happened, whether it has any physical symptoms and all those things. That's a later part, but you need to write it down. And then you read what you have written and see what subtle bodies are coming to play. What kind of sensations you get when you read something, what kind of images flash in your mind, what kind of sounds are associated with that. And if you can savor or have the flavor of the condition, what would it be? What would be the taste of that condition? Taste as in, it doesn't have to be physical taste, but the mind has a taste. Similarly, the soul has a taste. So as we shift our consciousness, you will see these five elements are playing their part at each level. And that is the beauty of this physical body. It can translate the language of the soul into one of these five elements and associated senses. And that's why we gave you that exercise of mastering the senses, taking inputs from them and knowing why those sensations are coming, what is the root of it. So after you do that, then you take another 60 seconds to observe and reflect on the words written on the paper. And you have a condition that is in your heart and a matching words that are on the paper. Years later, when you actually read that particular entry, that condition again descends into your heart, and you can start meditating from there. So it is useful if you are writing a diary every day. Before you start a meditation, if you read the entry of the previous entry and you close your eyes, you can take off from that particular place. That would be your starting point of your meditation, and you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then what does the writing do? So this motor activity of writing and speaking, they facilitate a deep learning and behavioral transformation. So the lifestyle changes that we need, they come from reading and, speaking and writing. We'll get to that in a moment. So this reading, reflection, brooding over your condition, writing down in your diary are very important steps. And it is recording your condition, and that condition in with respect to various other aspects of your life, we'll get to it in a moment. So These are the six levels of consciousness that scientists were able to record. The one at instinct, habit, and intentional. So this instinct level is there in all animals. And creating habits, giving directions to our life, designing our destiny, or designing a personality, all these are part of human makeup. Because Daji says the three chakras, the lower chakras, are awake in all animals. But the heart chakra is only opened or awakened in human beings. That's what makes us human. And because of that heart, we are able to change any habits that are not working for us. And we can intentionally live our life. And then we can dream about things that are not here yet. That's how, think about it. How did we come to this concept of God? It is because of this free-floating imaginative faculty that is there. It says, oh, how am I getting this food? Where am I getting it from? Who has created this? Where did all these stars come? Somehow the mind started thinking about it and it arrived at God. And then someone said, okay, God has created the world and things like that. And God created man as in his own image. A man can be like God. He can be God-like, godly. He can never be God, but he can be like God. So then they started reflecting on themselves and saying, okay, what are the qualities of God and how can I have them? And then looked at the nature, expansiveness. Oh, what can expand? Consciousness can expand. Somehow they came to that conclusion and they transformed their lives. And that's how Babuji Maharaj was able to give this system to us. Never before someone actually crossed the threshold of SDK and say that there is something beyond. And Babuji said that SDK is nothing. There is much more to go. So all these are, again, doors that are open for us if we proceed step by step. At least have an idea. If not today, we will do it 2 years later, 5 years later. But once you have tasted this particular condition or any condition, you can never forget it and it will pull you back. And that's why Babuji says, when I sow a seed of divinity or I give a sitting, that person must come back to me even after 10 lifetimes. It doesn't matter. He must come back to me because that is the power of the intention that is put inside our hearts. If we do it now, it is better. But otherwise also, life after life, these conditions that we carry in our heart will draw us back in. We have no choice anymore. In a good way. It's a nice thing. And now let us come back to this Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic and the weather and seasons. So again, if you read the chapter Spirituality and in Truth Eternal, the first page itself talks about Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. Every person is made up of these qualities. Now, let us say, I want to improve myself. And someone comes and says, Bhavani, you talk very rudely to people. You have to tone down and otherwise it's not good for you. Then we realize, okay, if I talk rudely, it may affect negatively. And then if I don't listen and I just go to my work and just have a tiff with my boss, and I show him how wrong he is in his way of doing things and how it should be done and etc. What happens? I'll promptly get fired. Not that day, but perhaps later down the lane when my performance review comes and things like that. So in order to avoid that, let us say I have faced that situation once. If I don't want that to be repeated, I change my behavior. So there is an action and the reaction of it made me learn. and that learning may or may not last for a long time. So that is the first level of learning. If I say, okay, instead of constantly struggling on how to speak, what if I change the condition, underlying condition, so that every time I speak, it is nice only? Then comes this sattva, rajas, and tamas. So what is that quality in me that makes me speak rudely, for example? Then I allocate it to rajasic point of view. Then I say, Master, please help me here so that I can actually speak better and live the values and be loving, be nice. If not for others' sake, at least for my sake, in the sense that I don't suffer the consequences of using a negative language. My tongue becomes civil and cultured. I pray for it. Then what happens? Some of this sattva guna, the qualities of the soul, they drip and help me. Once I recognize, then I say, okay, what do I do? So Master says, center yourself, speak from your heart. That is, the voice should feel that it is coming from the heart. If you read this principles of conversation, it says the same. A civil tongue is a prerequisite to achieve the goal of human life. A cultured tongue rules the kingdom of the heart. Then they say, okay, settle down and speak. That is the climate. I need, to have a stability in the seasons. I need the climate to be stable. That's why if you see the news these days, they are saying, oh, we have to cut down on methane levels. We have to cut down on so many things so that the global warming doesn't happen. What is global warming? It is at this level, that climate level. It is changing for everybody in the world because Earth itself is going through that. But if it happens to me, then I have a season. All through the season, I will demonstrate in that particular season or whichever season I am in, there is a basic thing that stays with me. My quality of speech, for example. So if I relate it back to seasons, right? Now, in summer, we know it is hot. In winter, it is cold. But what is not changing in between summer and winter? I'm still living. I'm still breathing. I have still air to breathe. I still have food to eat. So these are consistent through the seasons. So we behave, our behavior is consistent irrespective of whether we are at point 1, 2, 12, 13, it doesn't matter. We have imbibed these qualities of speaking nicely, treating others as our brothers and things like that. So going through the seasons also doesn't change who we are, because we are now not worried about whether I am content, discontent, peaceful, restless. I'm not worried about it anymore. I want to work at the source. What is the root of it? And I want to start from there. If I need speech correction, I will change my heart for speech. If I need my heart, if I want something in my heart, I will create room for it in my heart, and it must manifest. So this is all about climate, weather, and seasons. It is our mind which is constantly, or heart, which is either content or discontent, peaceful or restless, anger or loving, fear, courage, confused or clear. These are the states of our consciousness, which is like a weather. Morning it will be one thing, and in the afternoon it will be one thing. But I want to stabilize that. I want it to be in a certain way. And what it means is I arrive at contentment, irrespective of whether I'm at point 1 or 0.7, I'm content. Wherever I am under that bubble or sphere of light. I am in that sphere of light. My condition remains what my master has given it to me, and everything else may keep changing. I am consistent, I am constant. People may think this fellow is not changing, but they blink their eye and open their eyes and they say, oh, this fellow has changed a lot so quickly. It is because we have tied ourselves to the heart of the master and we are trying to directly live the conditions that he is putting in us every moment. And one of the key things here is when we talk about climate, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, and all these conditions, really speaking, we are talking about only one thing. Every condition is the condition of the master. Every condition is his presence. There is no two different things. If you see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, in the living beings, I am the consciousness. So if the consciousness that is there in amoeba versus the consciousness that is evolved in the highest saint of highest order, it is the same Lord that is prevailing. So any condition I feel must be the same, whether it is positive or negative. But how we handle it, how well we handle it, it is the same Lord. I should treat him as him only, right? In the sense that we receive him irrespective of how he comes. So these are the things that we need to map it back, because in spirituality or material life, there is only one life we have. We live through our own center. Okay. Now let us go to goal. And you will need pen and paper ready, because you are going to do a lot of exercise now. So you learned what to write in the diary, and you learned what are the stages of consciousness and how as human beings we are special. And then now you feel with heartfulness practice how that speciality of being human can be actualized, how we can be more harmonious human beings, more united human beings, more loving human beings. So what is this goal? And we say that, oh master, what the real goal of human life? And we say, what are the obstacles? We are yet but slaves of wishes, putting bar to our advancement. And how do we get out of those entanglements and slavery? We say thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. So if you focus on that last line of that prayer, it says to bring us up to that stage. That means I should know what this stage is. And for that also you need to read the condition and write down the condition in your diary, so that you know where you are. Without knowing where you are, we cannot send, like God cannot send help. So, or anyone cannot come, like no one can help without knowing where you are. So think about it for the moment. And so essentially this goal which we have said, oh master, thou art the real goal of human life. What does it mean really? Can you quantify it? That means when you achieve that goal, do you know that you have achieved that goal? It's very hard. And therefore we say, oh, how to be like the master? We don't know. So one of the first exercises is, people say that, okay, before starting any work, think that the master is doing it. Thinking alone is not enough. The think word is loosely used. We have to make a sankalpa, or we have to create an intention And intention is beyond thinking. Intention has our soul power in it. It is infused as though, like Master, the way he feeds transmission into our heart, into our sankalpa, we breathe that life. So it is not empty anymore. And we think, or we make a sankalpa that Master himself is doing that work. That means Master's power now will start flowing into that work, and that work gets done. So empty thinking doesn't help. So goal, how do we know that we reached? So then someone will say, okay, Master's qualities we have to imbibe and demonstrate. You should have those list of those qualities. For example, I took out qualities of Master, like Daji, for example. The qualities that I have noticed in him: acceptance. When you are in his presence, he doesn't treat you any different from the way he treats himself. He doesn't treat you less, he doesn't treat you more than he treats himself. And this is a matter of observation. You can see how tender he is. And sometimes he puts you in front of him, in the sense he treats you much better than he treats himself. He will offer you more things that he may not have for himself, for example. And then the second one is non-interference. He tells you something, he generally gives a talk. People accept it, don't accept it. He doesn't come into our lives and say, hey, you are not doing this. You must, if you want to achieve the goal, you must do this. He doesn't come door to door and ask us to do that. He doesn't interfere in our lives at all. And when you ask him some question, he will say, pray to the Divine Master. If he is not listening, even he cannot hear anything. Total non-interference. The only way that he can help, if you pray and you connect to your heart, and you are sincere about seeking that help, and you say that, Master, yes, I really want to change. I get hurt by people all the time. I need some strength to overcome this. Please help. And then that help descends, or we become more, accepting of the other person, because the acceptance is a quality of Master. And then usually when we have tips, it's about expressing ourselves in a ways that we are not understanding each other, for example. Then what happens? At that moment, we step back a bit. We don't want to interfere with them unless they ask. And at that time also, we may say, hey, have you considered this? Have you considered this? We are not going to give any suggestions to them. Because when Master is not giving direct hints or suggestions, we should take that also as an example and say, okay, maybe you can consider this, or maybe you can consider that. If they think, if they own it and do it, it is up to them. If they don't own it, it's okay. We move on. And the other quality is no resistance. Like if you say something to him and Daji doesn't agree, he doesn't impose his view on you. He will just say, okay, let's think about it, and we'll drop it. And then also that this is a quality. And other qualities I noticed are pause. He has all the time in the world. And he's also centered in himself all the time. And one of the things is, like, for example, if you notice, sometimes you feel that he may be irritated because he may have said something to someone, and he turns towards you and talks as if nothing happened there. How? Because we are able to isolate, okay, this requires this attention. Like, for example, you have to scold one kid and praise one kid, because one kid, let's say you have two kids, and one kid came home with happy news that he got first mark in the he topped the class, and another comes and he says he got less mark. We cannot treat both of them the same way, and we cannot disturb ourselves. So how do you handle that? That is a learning exercise. So these are all the things that come into picture. But unless we translate that goal, intangible goal, into something that we can understand and achieve and prepare ourselves with, we don't have anything to work with. So goal is important, but the objectives are more important. And then so we need sensitivity for that, to understand what our goal is and how, whether we are progressing in that goal or not, and how quickly we want it. Daji says, I don't like slow changes. And any change that we want to have, it must be visible, tangible, perceptible, even without us announcing that, oh, he changed so drastically. That's the kind of condition, time to time, that we need to have. So this inner sensitivity we have to develop. Don't worry about the quotes. You will receive the slide deck, so you can read it peacefully. But essentially, sensitivity, reading the condition, writing diary, they are all essential to objectively arrive at qualities that we want to imbibe, so that we know that we are progressing towards a goal. Someone will say, oh, how do I know I am progressing? Do you still have fear? Are you still, sulking that someone has criticized you, someone has done this to you, and you have been, you are a victim of circumstances and things like that? Then the answer is no, we are not progressing. But if we say, okay, I have received this criticism, master, please help me, and we put our dependence on him and gain strength, inner strength. Transmission provides inner strength, because transmission is a form of master himself. He is embedding himself again and again into our hearts, and he's not even complaining whether we are accepting or not accepting. That is another way to notice the divine master's qualities. So we accept. When we accept without resistance, that transmission gets digested into the soul. The soul will emit more light, and it sheds light on the darkness that is there in the consciousness, that sattva, rajas, and tamas. There will be little more light, and we can now see which areas have to improve in life. And we start applying this sensitivity to change our circumstance. Okay. Now, so what did Babuji Maharaj do? So Daji was saying about this particular thing. What did Babuji Maharaj do? What is my inner condition right now? What is my inner condition right now? At which point am I right now? What will be my next station, and what will be the condition like there? What are the things that I should not do? And even after all this, he used to have just one thought: constant remembrance of the master. So he was able to do 4 or 5 things at the same time. We can also do the same. It's not like it was Babuji's trademark alone, that only he could do it. We can also do it. We are his children, right? So he has given us the power which we all should use. And most importantly, even after knowing all this, we must not continue to remain foolish. If we need to do something, we must do it. So all this reading the condition, I am not able to read the condition, that itself is a condition. You are able to identify. If I am able to accept that, yes, I am not able to read the condition, half battle is won. And then you pray, then you say, okay, where is my consciousness? And you follow consciousness. It will take you places. And again, for this reason, all these exercises we have been doing for the last 13, 14 weeks are important. And someone will say, oh, how do I know the second element of point one's condition? that means 3 o'clock position, fire point is there. How do I know it? I don't have to know it. I just have to close my eyes and say, what is the condition like there? Oh, heart, can you please help me? And that's enough. The condition will be loaded and you will be able to note it down. And we said, okay, spend about 15-20 minutes, because 20-21 minutes is the amount of time it takes for the body, mind, and your consciousness to settle down. And then it captures like a photograph. So all the condition we identify in only probably less than a minute, but remaining 20 minutes is preparation for it. And then it will reveal itself a little bit. Then we go back, we will know more. Now, for anything, we need to work. And all work comprises of these 5 principles: earth, water, space, etc. And the 5 qualities like sound, sight, etc. The 5 jnanendriyas, the 5 senses of perception, and the 5 karmendriyas, the 5 sense organs, and the mind, the intelligence and the ego. These 13 are the instruments. Prakriti is the cause of all these. As Prakriti is the mother of all these, the entire universe is a form of Prakriti. Lalaji, Complete Works of Ramchandra, Volume 2. Now you see why this kosha work is important. Why mind and koshas have to be cleansed, purified, elements have to be purified. So this particular aspect, again, we did a koshas class. You can see the sites, Google Sites website. You have all the presentation there and all. Please spend some time, because again, any work that we do, we utilize these 5 principles. And if we are in harmony with those 5 elements inside our heart, the outside 5 elements will be in harmony with us. And the people who are also made of those 5 elements will also be in harmony with us, and they won't even understand why they are in harmony with us. They'll just like us. They don't even know why. Strangers seem to like us. Strangers come to talk to us. They pour their hearts to us, because we have created that kind of vacuum in us which draws everything out. They'll be relieved. Again, the function of an abhyasi of heartfulness is much beyond what we can comprehend at individual level. So we are already, without our knowledge, big instruments in his hands. But if we develop ourselves more, our range will increase. Our area of operation will increase. And to do this work, we don't have to be preceptors. If we are in remembrance of the master, all the surroundings around us in all 360 degrees will be in remembrance with us. And the more we forget the body, the more we expand. Now, how do we achieve the goal? What are the tools that we need? So this quotation, I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why, when and how, and where and who. And if you ask these questions, okay, what is my condition? Why am I suffering this? And when will this end? And how will this end? Where am I going? And who is taking me there? Then you will have all the goal, direction, and everything written to you in front. The script will come down to you. All you have to do is just close your eyes, and it's like a movie. You will see through everything. So 5 principles of achievement. Acquire knowledge and understanding of the goal to be achieved. Because without this knowledge, we cannot objectively frame what we want to do to achieve the goal. Because goal is intangible. If the goal remains intangible, we cannot achieve it. Select the right way or approach to achieve that goal. correctly assess one's current state. So reading the condition. Do I have enough energy? Do I have resources? Do I have what it takes? What are the obstacles that are on my path? Who's going to clear these obstacles? Who else I need to collaborate with? All these things come there. Attract to oneself all favorable forces which will conduce to achievement of the goal. Repel or do away with all adverse factors standing in the way of the goal. And what are the adverse factors? To start with, it is our own mind. It says, oh, I don't feel like meditating today. I'm too tired. Let me sit. And we sit in front of TV and watch 3 hours of shows. Or we do something else. So mind, it says, is our greatest friend. And if we don't treat it well, it will be our greatest enemy. And it is also like a child. It needs discipline. We cannot let go, give it a free rein. We have to give enough freedom and curb them in after some time. It's like raising a teenager. We have to, give a little bit and draw them back in again. We have to be very friendly also. Like after certain age, we cannot be, we have to treat kids like friends. But at the same time, we have to love enough to discipline them. Similarly, the mind. So if we start with that, and if I find faults with somebody, if my mind is finding faults with somebody, Lalaji says, those faults are there within you. And then what will happen? Again, we have an objective here. Okay, I feel this. Then what do? I write down and say, goal. I need to overcome this particular quality. We'll do the exercise in a minute. But essentially, once we have these, we can proceed further. So the goal first, and it's already 8:23. Probably there will be another 10 minutes I need after. So in another 15-20 minutes, we'll finish today. Okay. This exercise that I want you to do is important. After that, sample exercise, you can take it further and do it for yourself. The idea is from today, 7th week is Daji's birthday. So if we do one exercise today and to set a goal, meaningful goal to achieve within 7 weeks. For example, I want to cultivate a speech like Lalaji says in Principles of Conversation. Let's say I want to have it. I will write down what I need to do. So we'll do some exercise like that. So goal first. And with that goal, how the mechanics of the goal works and how it shapes our mind and heart. The goal is always fulfills a purpose, a need, or a desire. And based on that, we shortlist a certain sequence of actions that we take and we execute those actions. So once we act, then that action goes into the world and the world responds either favorably or in a different way, depending upon what our action is. Let's say we'll talk about only positive actions here. We have made a goal and that fulfills a purpose, and we have set steps of actions that we undertake every single day for next 6 weeks, for example. And we demonstrate that those particular actions in the world. The world is our test. The heart is our place where we experiment, the lab, and the real action happens in the world. In a way, the world is a playground. And then from what the world tells us, we get a learning experience. And that learning experience shapes our belief, and that belief will shape our values, and those values will affect the goal. And the way they affect the goal will create some strong emotions or feelings in us. So every action actually follows these 5 cycles, and the work, that's how all the 5 elements are involved. There is a feeling part, there is an emotion part, there is a thinking part, there is a learning, memory, cognitive memory. All these things are involved in everything. So if we expand our consciousness to include our senses, our body, and have full engagement with the task at hand, then the task will flow in a particular way. And how is it all connected? And you will see subsequently, once we develop this love for doing things in a cohesive way, in a flow, we love it, and our center of work becomes that of love. Whatever we do it with love. Not love in the sense we will not love people or whatever it is. That entire thing is like we are so engaged with it. We love it. We cannot do it any other way. Even I cannot do bad work because I love what I'm doing. Something like that. Every single task. That's why when Kamlesh someone asked him, don't you feel tired? You do this day in, day out, day in, day out. Abhyas is accept, Abhyas is reject, Abhyas is write nonsense emails, Abhyas will really, really test him to its limits. But he's okay. He comes, so he answered, in love, there is no labor. So as long as we are struggling with something, we should know that's a first reading, that we don't like it, we don't love it, yet we are doing it. So somehow then we have to say, oh, if I'm in a choiceless condition, I better love what I'm doing, so that at least my mind is free. So this is the same diagram, how it is in terms of the flow. And there is another video which we will upload to that location, shared files, and you can watch a video, separate video on how the world interacts and how our samskaras are coming into play. Okay. Now, so you choose a goal at each of these levels. This was the exercise for the next 6-7 weeks at the individual level. For the body, for example, let us say, what is your fitness level today and what do you want it to be in 6-7 weeks or 3 months, whatever you want, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, it doesn't matter, but it is a start. If you do enough exercise, it's already good. Mind, what will you do for your mind? Learning a new skill, language, reading a book, and not just reading. If you like the book, what is your takeaway from it? What will you put into practice? Otherwise, we haven't learned anything from anything that we read or listen. What do you want to do for your heart? And of course, this is our, oh master, the real goal of human life. If we want to achieve that goal, what do we want to do for the heart, from the heart? So we may say, okay, I'll do this next 5 weeks. I'll take up heart region classes, go through one session a week, and complete all the things and try to imbibe the qualities of that particular point. So in 5 weeks, you will finish 5 points. And Daji's birthday is right in front of you and you're all prepared. Or you can say, okay, I already did 1 to 5. Maybe I'll do from 6 to 10. Then you are prepared. Then at the family level, for the first degree relationships, meaning you're like a man, I am connected to my wife and my children directly. They are my first degree relationships. Similarly, my siblings. So what do I do for them with them? Or extended family. And if there are any things that are bothering in these relationships, how are we going to resolve it? So bedtime prayer, I'll pray that my relationship with so and so person be resolved amicably, or whatever it is, right? And then to the society. Society is beyond family, extended family. How about some heartfulness work or voluntary or being a volunteer at certain places, or teach someone something? All these things. So you can either pick up one goal at one of each level, or you can pick one goal for all the 6 weeks. It's up to you. But whatever goal you pick up, it should be meaningful. It cannot be arbitrary goal and you're not just connected. It's not a mental goal. Oh, I want to be like Daji. Okay, but do you come to it with passion of the heart and do what it takes? Again, full engagement with all senses, heart, mind, body. So that's why we have to feel what in relation to the goal, where am I? From here, how to get there? So we have to write down that goal first. So in 10 words or less, write down what you want to achieve in 6 weeks. So what do you want to achieve in 6 weeks? The 6 weeks is important because, again, it's this is the audience is heartfulness people. Of course, we can take it elsewhere also. We can use the same set of skills to set goals in material life and succeed there too. But it also requires a preparatory work in the heart. So suppose you want to put a material goal. That material goal also has an emotional component in your heart. And unless you make room for that particular goal in your heart, it won't manifest outside, whatever you may do. So for that reason, you need to have these sensations, feelings, thoughts, emotion, everything behind what you want to achieve. So next, after writing down that goal, to connect back to your emotions and feelings, what are the benefits that you achieve by achieving that goal? What are the benefits you feel? And that benefit should be tangible benefit. Like if I build a loving communication, then entire world becomes friendly to me. If I drop violence from my heart, the entire world become peaceful for me. So if I don't have violence in my heart, people cannot quarrel with me. Even if they have some quarrel, in my presence, their quarrel will drop off. Because that element is not responding from me. There is no vibrational match. The vibration that I'm emitting There is no corresponding attracting factor from outside. So there is no vibration from my heart at all. So when I remove that particular vibration and I have only vibration that is in me, is about love, let us say, I'm radiating love, transmitting love all the time, then you cannot but stop from loving me. And to say that you are loving me is also not right. In the sense, not me, but essentially the master, for example. We don't love master. Think about it. When we are in presence of Daji, we don't love him. It is his love that makes us defenseless. We are just, disarmed. And the only response we have is one of wonder, because that is his condition. And he doesn't have any vibrations that match our vibration. So we are free in front of him. And that's why we are able to talk to him very freely. When we open our mouth, we don't even see that there are 1,000 people around us, and we pour our hearts to him, because that's what he makes us. So you have to understand this vibrational match concept. So what are the benefits of accomplishing that goal? Next, what kind of thoughts I must entertain right now which are in line with that goal? So unless we have this anchoring between our heart and the goal, there is no way we can pull it towards us. So this thought pattern and the condition in the heart, they should be always matching. What we want in our heart and what we entertain in our mind, they should match. And what feelings do I need to achieve my goal? Not just thoughts, feelings. How do I feel every day when I'm going towards that achievement of that goal? And then finally, what specific steps I need to take? So you see how much of emotion, feeling, heart goes before we actually attain anything. So being like Daji, or being like Master, or being like God, if you take one quality and say what is the quality of God, and one of the definitions we normally say is, oh, he has no mind and he doesn't interfere with anyone. So how much are we interfering in our own work? Meaning interference, meaning how our mind, let us say I'm doing some work, and how my mind picks up the phone to check messages on it. I'm doing the work and I am my own enemy. So this 20-minute intervals, we have to multiply. There is a technique called Pomodoro. People put 25 minutes timer, and for those 25 minutes, they shut off everything else. They won't do any other thing except the activity at hand. Can we cultivate such habits? And for 25 minutes is nowadays a small sitting. Can we just sit quietly without our mind disturbing us? That means our meditation is so perfect that our mind doesn't wander. So that's what it is. Whatever the goal, unless we feel these things, what is my behavior with respect to who I am, with respect to that goal? So am I taking the goal seriously? Am I working positively towards a goal? Then what are the effects of my emotions on that particular goal that I want to achieve? Am I thinking positive? Or I say, oh, you don't have a track record of succeeding at all. How can you succeed now? If this is my internal dialogue, how will I change it so that it will help me achieve the goal? I can revert back and say, all the time you have been saying this, all the time you point out my negativities, negative qualities only. Why can't you encourage me and see what will happen for a change? So your mind now will say, oh yes, you can do it. Why don't you try? Nothing is lost if you don't do it. If you don't do it, you won't get anything at all. But if you do and fail, you are at least left with an experience and you can do better. So we need to change the thinking process. The negativity bias, you have to correct it. And that can happen only in when we actually start feeling the presence of the master in our heart. And so one last thing before we go, another exercise. Whenever you see Daji's, attend Daji's sittings, particularly when he gives the Sunday mornings meditations live, don't just, let me rephrase, sit with the intention that you're going to record the presence, how it feels to sit there and sit with him and meditate. What is happening in your environment? What is happening around you? 360 degrees. What do you feel? What do you feel in your mind? What do you feel in your heart? How absorbed are you? And then do the diary writing exercise by recording sounds, sensations, and everything. And if he said something, you record that also. At the end of the meditation, even if he said, oh, aaj ke liye itna hi, there is nothing, no announcements, nothing. Okay, we'll meet next week. Or he will say, we'll meet for truth eternal. Something like that. Just listen to what he said and write it down in your diary. And after that, try to replay that in your mind over and over, at least 2 or 3 times in that day. See it after a week before the next meditation. When you are sitting again with Daji, try to recall what happened the previous Sunday or in previous Truth Eternal session. And then you see the depth of this meditation. So everything is available in our system. Okay. If you have done this much exercise, you can probably replay it and see. Without writing step by step what you want to achieve, or writing this diary and developing the sensitivity, it is hard to move forward. And if our goal is, let us say, liberation, for liberation, we don't have to do much. If you know if you see the videos of 0.7 and 8 particularly, you will see what are the conditions of that state. 7 and 8 are, they don't ask too much. They just say, be generous, be loving, be nice, be harmonious. With little effort, we can achieve all that. But the other day, Daji was saying, big things require big effort. So if goal is complete merger with the master, we cannot let even a single thought stray elsewhere. Or at least the thought should be useful and say, hey, I still have this quality, I need to correct. So with that, we come to the end of this session. Thanks for joining all. So all other questions, I think we have answered several times. And any other question that you have, objectively write it down in your diary and go through all these questions. Like, okay, how can I answer this question? Who can answer this question? Can I sit for 20 minutes and pray? One of the things about prayer is when we say, I shall pray for you, It's a binding in the sense that I need to sit and pray. And that prayer is not like, Master, please take care. It's not enough, because our condition doesn't create that immediate relief, or it is not heard so easily. So we need to sit at least for 20 minutes and offer prayer if we are offering prayer to someone. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll end it here now.